Welcome back, everyone, to Glaze Game Gestures episode 13. I recently picked up my Morty Funko Pop. I never thought I'd ever get one. I picked it up for $4.88 at a FedEx. It was like, I don't know, 75% off. The box isn't in the best shape, but it's Morty 1112 of 1114, something like that. There's two Ricks, but that's Morty. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that. I'd like to discuss the PS3. Let's get right into it. PS3. This controller is great. Ergonomically, it just feels great. I like how the L2 and the R2 are kind of detached. I like how you can still connect four controllers to the console. The D-pad, it feels just like the PS2. I like how they updated it. Obviously, that's the home button. If for those of you who have a PS3 and have played and know, I like the USB attachment here. The 6-axis is awesome. It's super light. This thing is like an ounce, if that. Like, it just feels good. The buttons are right. The clicks are good. The joysticks are great. I can't say enough about this controller if I haven't already said enough. I mean, it feels really, really good in, someone who has big hands or I think small hands. I love this controller. Out of, I'd say even PS1 through 4, this is probably my favorite. It just feels right. They got it right this time. But the PS3 console that I have currently at the moment is the PS3 Super Slim, aka the George Foreman grill, right? So, it's really cool that the eject button, you just press in the front and it slides right open and it stays in place where it needs to. I like that comparative to the PS3 Slim or the PS3 original, the fat model that, it inserts in, and what if it gets stuck and the laser stops reading it? You're not going to spit a disc out unless you go into the hardware itself, undo the container and pull it out. But this is handy, if it stops reading or if I'm having an issue with the laser, I don't even have to press the eject button. I can just slide it, and there you go. It works. I like that. I did the best I could to clean this thing. I picked it up a couple months ago, believe it or not, on OfferUp for like $10. $10 flat. I was like, are you serious? And the guy was like, yeah, it's $10. I was like, okay, sold. I don't have any of the cords, but I already had a PS4 at the time. That'll be another video. Speaking of PS4, the AC adapter on the back, it's the same as the PS4. So for those of you who have a PS3 and want to, kind of upgrade, yeah, it's not a PS5, but it's the same exact cord, or vice versa. Want to downgrade? I wouldn't even say downgrading. I mean, everyone who's been following and watching my channel enjoys games of all sorts of kinds, to continue to play the old ones as well as the new ones, correct? Or at least that's how I like to view it. Anyway, the George Foreman grill, super awesome. It turns green right here and turns red when you turn it off. Like I said, the eject button, it's super lightweight. It was relatively easy to clean. There's still like a little bit of dirt inside here. I did the best I could. I'm gonna have to get one of those computer air dust mechanisms, but I can still get on Wi-Fi with this thing like no problem. For some reason, I'm not able to retrieve my Xbox 360 gamer tag. I'm not quite sure why. I'll have to figure that out at some point. But, it's super cool that, they even have the PlayStation engraved here on the side. Like, PlayStation knew what they were doing with the Slim. Although I do like the Microsoft Xbox 360 Slim as well. That's neither here nor there. But in relation to that particular generation of consoles, they both got it right when they decided to, slim down the size per se. But my favorite of the PS3 is probably just the regular Slim. I just think it looks super cool. This one is cool as well because, like I said before, I like this. Super handy, super easy to use, no problems there. You can use an AV multi-out if you want. I don't have one. I just HDMI it. It's a lot easier that way. I think it looks better resolution. It has a LAN cable. You can do Ethernet gaming that way. I love this console. It's great. I have a really long USB cord to charge it with. I'm about, typically from my couch to the TV, I'd say probably about 8 to 10 feet away, and this cord does the job. I have no qualms there. It's a great console. And let me get into some games that I have. These are the loose ones I have. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Can't say enough about them. They're great. I beat them on 360 years ago back in the day, and I saw these at a antique store for $2 each, and I was said sold, so I bought them. I'll get the cases later down the road. Deus Ex. I heard this is kind of an interesting game by Square Enix. It's like a shooter meets like a RPG. I honestly don't necessarily know too much about it, but I would delve into that one of these days. I definitely remember playing with my buddies back in the day, Resistance, which I like to call kind of knockoff Halo, or at least that's just the way that I view it, meets kind of like a Gears of War-y, run and gun shooting aliens. It has a Metacritic score of like, I think 86 or 87. All three of them are all in the 80s, and I remember playing it, and I thought it was a lot of fun, so I'm glad I picked those up. Actually, I think all of these came from the same antique store, like anywhere between $2 to $5 each. Resistance 2, Resistance 3, you know, I mean, they're just great. And then, I've obviously shown you the Xbox game Blinks before, but the Simpsons game. This game goes for like 30 bucks. Same antique store, $2. And I really like it. It's a lot like Hit and Run for PS2 or when they ported it to the GameCube. It's relatively similar. Like that Grand Theft Auto kind of open world. You know, as Homer, you can collect beer bottle caps. As Marge, you can collect 25-cent coupons. That's kind of funny. And Lisa collects Malibu Stacy, and Bart collects little Krusty lunch boxes. You know, I mean, and then there's obviously little side stories you can go into here and there. And it's actually a little challenging comparative to Hit and Run, and I like that kind of concept. And it's really cool that you can go as Maggie and go through like the vents to find you know, coupons or open up doors. But anyway, those are my loose PS3 games, and this is probably the one that I've been playing the most. That's why I've actually am discussing it the most right now. I will definitely beat that probably here pretty soon. Now, I'm pretty proud of the stack of PS3 games that I have at the moment. Wolfenstein. I played the one that was on PS4. I believe it was the New Order. I loved it. I remember playing these back in the day on PC, like with my old man, you know, back when it was like the old school like Macintosh, and it's just a really fun like run and gun like Nazi zombie shooter made by Havoc. Just, it's a really cool game. I love the PlayStation 3 cases. I think they are so cool, whether it's the black label at the top or the red. You know, I mean, I feel like this size, you know, the fact that it says Blu-ray, I mean, the small compact, it makes it much easier to store on a shelf. It's easier to grab, just easier to just, you know, it's great. I love it. It's complete in box. PlayStation 3 cases and PlayStation 4 cases, they got them right, in my perspective. I like that. Got this from an antique store that was going out of business. I think they wanted like 15, but I talked them down to maybe like, I don't know, like $6 or $7. And they're like, okay, just take it, get out of here. Also made by Havoc. I've never played either the first one or the second one, but I was like, look, I got to get this game, you know, and heck, look, okay, December 14th is when I picked it up, right here at the top, from that antique store, you know. I got 3 different games there, and I think this one was, okay, so $7.25. Anyway, can't say enough about Star Wars. Love Star Wars, looking forward to playing this one as well. It reminds me kind of like a Jedi version of Jango Fett's Bounty Hunter. I loved that game on GameCube. That was a great game. I wish I would have still had that. Anyway, let's get to this stack. Resident Evil 5. I got this one relatively cheap, I think also at a thrift store, and I remember playing it on 360 with my buddies. That was a lot of fun. It was really cool, the concept of doing a co-op, and the fact that you could move very slightly while still aiming, instead of on Resident Evil 4 where you just were stationary. The fact that you can move a little bit was very, very helpful. Chris and Sheva, great story, made by Havoc and Capcom, of course, because it is Resident Evil. Complete in box, you know, it's all there. I'm just stoked to have this. I've beaten it before. It's a really, really fun game. 4, 5, and 6. I'd say probably just 4 and 5. 6, I'm biased. I didn't like that there were so many stories. This should have just had like 1 or 2 stories instead of just 4. But anyway, I liked 4 and 5. Those are probably my favorite thus far in the Resident Evil catalog. But anyway, I had Shadow of the Colossus back in the day on PS2. I think I got to I did get to the last boss. It was really cool. I liked that concept that there was no, you know, minions. It was literally using your sword to find where the bosses were. I thought that was really cool. And this is the precursor collection that comes with it. Ico, 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 however you want to pronounce it. Tomato, tomato, right? But I picked this up at a retro game store, I think for maybe like 12, 15 bucks. Complete in box. I'm looking forward to playing this one because I love Shadow of the Colossus and I need to redeem myself. I got to the last boss and whatever happened to that PS2 game, I couldn't tell you. Moving on. Infamous 2. This was the first game that I picked up with my PS3 because I wasn't even sure if my PS3 worked, whether the laser read or anything. And I was like, who cares if it's the first or the second game of the series? And I need to play more of this. This was really, really cool. The open world, you know, electrical, you know, hand mechanism that he had, kind of like Dynamo from Total Recall back in the day. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Anyway, bad reference. Really, really cool game made by PlayStation. You know, it's complete in box. I'm stoked to have it. I mean, it's not in the best condition. It looks like it's been like water warped or whatever the case may be, but really cool. I think I've only done maybe 1 or 2 missions. I like it so far. I'm happy to have it. And then guess what? Picked up the first one. But now, since I started the second one, I might just hold off on the second one and play this one first, because I'm almost certain that it's chronological, and that's fine with me. You know, what a better way to start than the first game, right? Once again, complete in blocks. Happy to have it. These cases are they just feel so good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, the Wii, the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 2, they're all the same height, so that's fine too. But especially if you want to have a big, game catalog and a library for a shelf, these are just much smaller and just fit better, in my perspective, that is. Anyway, God of War 3. Picked it up because I loved God of War 1 and 2 back in the day. Really cool playing as Kratos. Santa Monica Studios, it's just... I've seen gameplay of this, and I was like, wow, I never had a PS3 back in the day because I was too busy playing PS2, but I'm glad I got one now for $10. Can you believe it? Anyway, looking forward to playing this. Really fun game. I had this OG JRPG on Xbox 360, and I would be playing it probably right now if I was able to retrieve my gamer tag. A Squeezles Weebs of all names. It was an alien on Nick Sportson's Pretend Time, and that's what I named myself as a gamer tag. Anyway, neither here nor there. But this is a really cool concept for a JRPG. It's in regards to Chopin's music, Frederick Chopin, the classical artist, and you're essentially using the instruments like, a saxophone, a trombone, and even like the maneuvers that you do. There's a coup de grace, and it's super cool. It's an interesting kind of a fighting perspective, like Tales of Symphonia per se. Like, you come in and hack and slash, but it's timed. It's like a couple seconds, then you have a little bit to like defend, and then so forth. It's just, and all the characters are named after, bass and sonatas and treble clef and bass clef, and it's super cool. Like, especially for those of you out there who enjoy classical music and JRPGs, Eternal Sonata, it's still a really good game. It's still really cheap. Like I said, I played it on 360. I got really far, then I got stuck, and then I don't know what happened to my gamer tag. I can't retrieve it, but I'm looking forward to starting over a new story because this is a really fun JRPG. Highly recommended. Made by Bandai. Lego Dimensions. I bought the Lego Dimensions set in a box for, I think it was $12.99 at the 99-cent store, and I've seen the box with the Portal and everything for PS3 and the 360 go for anywhere between $35 to $50. I picked it up for $12.99, but it goes for $35 to $50. I decided not to open it just yet. I will wait. I think it's kind of cool that I actually have a sealed game. I mean, who cares if it's just a Lego game at the moment? I mean, it'd be cooler if it was like Chrono Trigger or something sealed, for $1,000. But I mean, it's cool to have this in my collection at the moment. I will open it eventually, but I'm glad that I have it sealed. And I have a couple of these right here. Lego Dimensions. The Lego games are a lot of fun, like Lego Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and so forth. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing those Lego games. But anyway, that's my catalog of PS3 at the moment, disced without a case as well as with the case, the jewel case. PS3, a lot of fun gaming to be had. Highly recommended system. It's just, it still holds up, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. I'm happy to share this, information with you guys. And thank you for the support, and have a good night.